As we move to the issues of the workplace, which should concern you all in as much as I expect you to be somebody's employee, the issue I'd really like you to focus on is that you lose your independent status as a citizen when you become an employee. The metaphor I'd like you to think about is that really an avatar of yourself goes to work. A person named Kate, a man named Ben goes to work. You don't take to work all those things about you that make you uniquely you, what you love, what colors you like, what music you like, what you do for hobbies, how you like to spend your free time, where you live, or any of those other personal issues. You become essentially a version of a human machine doing work that the employer directs. As such, you lose a couple basic privileges that you have as a citizen. You do no longer have the right of free speech to criticize your employer. The law on this is clear, and our moral theory follows that law. You are an agent of the employer who is the principal. The principal gets to direct how you spend your time and what you do during that time. Remember when I said you're authorized to act on behalf of the employer only as specifically delegated? Well, this means you're obligated to act in the best interest of your employer, or what you reasonably believe to be in the best interest of your employer. Now, as to the freedom of speech, which becomes an important issue because people think they're entitled to it and everybody has to protect it, that's a misconception. The First Amendment of the Constitution enumerates a limited set of powers for the federal government. It doesn't really guarantee you anything. It guarantees you that the federal government may not impose limitations on your freedom of assembly, your freedom of religion, or your freedom of speech. It doesn't impose those restrictions on anybody else. By implication, it says that the states, in this case Wisconsin, may not do so either. But that's not entirely clear. However, it certainly doesn't apply to your employer. So you do not have a freedom of speech, and you have what's called a duty of loyalty. Now, that duty of loyalty to your employer doesn't mean you have an obligation to speak positively, or the way I like to say it, to evangelize on behalf of your employer. What it does mean, however, is that you may not speak critically of your employer. You may not speak, publish, or participate in anything that disparages your employer. So your duty of loyalty is a very strong duty to avoid public criticism or denigrating the employer.